All right. All right. Hey, testing 1 2 1 2. All right. Hey, we're back.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. So, I know it's been a little bit since we've been on, and I know you all have been dying, just in eager anticipation for the next Trend Chat episode, and here it is. So, our last episode was before the midterm elections, so and also, Thanksgiving as well. So I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving last week. And I'm not finna go into this election analysis 2 weeks later about everything, because for one, it happened kind of basically how most people thought it was going to happen. The consensus was that the Democrats were going to win the House and Republicans were going to keep the Senate, and that's what happened. So nothing really shocking, really. Maybe individual races may have been here or there, but overall, it's basically what everyone kind of was projecting it was going to be for the past couple of months, actually, if not the past half a year. So now, that being said, there are still a number of races that haven't been decided fully yet, I guess, in a way. I mean, you had what was going on in Florida and Georgia with the governor's race. And I mean, hey, Florida and Georgia have dodged the bullet of socialism, I would say, for now. Who knows what happens by the time the next governor's race? Who knows? Maybe Democrats have convinced enough people about the lie of the greatness of socialism, and unfortunately, a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, are getting swept up in the thought of wanting to take from others just because you don't have it. Basically, I mean, I can get into all of that about socialism, but so far, at least in Florida and Georgia, that has been stalled for now. But personally, I just think that's the direction we're going, unfortunately, because I would say of envy and jealousy of people who are more fortunate and who may have more than others, by whether it was earned or whether it was by through family. Just but there's a lot of people who are basically very envious of others. And I feel like that is one major part that is driving a lot of this, I guess, this sentiment of where we need to, quote unquote, have the, I guess we call the 1% pay their fair share, or whatever, however that's supposed to mean or whatnot. But anyway, like I said, for now, that's right now. But hopefully, maybe in the future, maybe more people will wake up to seeing that is not the route to go. That's not where we don't need to go there. And unfortunately, history is not really helping change some people's minds. A lot of people who are for all these socialist policies, whether you show examples of what happened in other countries and like I said, or talk about history, none of that is getting through, because one, I guess, argument that they would use is that, well, it wasn't done the right way. They didn't do this, and well, we're Americans, so we can do it better, or whatever like that, you know. And none of it's going to happen. So, but look, I don't want to go down that track, because that can be a long rant that can take up basically the whole episode. But that being said, like I said, I wasn't not going to get into that long, analysis about the election. But I guess one thing I did want to mention is that there was record turnout for the midterms, and even with that, Democrats was able to just win the House by over 30 seats were flipped, but Republicans kept control of the Senate. So even with that record turnout, they still didn't do as well as Republicans did in 2010, when they won both the House and the Senate, and by larger numbers as well. And that's funny, because when Democrats are always saying, like, if we get more turnout, then it's automatically going to be in our favor. Well, you had record turnout and you still didn't do as well. So, and like I said, this is a midterm election. So I guess we'll see in 2020, when you actually have President Trump on the ballot, and where would that go as far as maybe have even more turnout, and who knows. Well, like I said, 2020 it's not that far away, actually. I mean, I really could talk about it, but because it really is not that far away, because by the first of next year in 2019, you're going to have people already going to make their announcements, especially on the Democrat side. Who knows? Kasich and other, you guess you can call them Republicans. They'll probably want to announce to run against the president. So anyway, that'll happen. Wouldn't be surprised. So it's funny, because I feel like the Democrats felt like that everyone after 2 years of the Trump administration would, I guess, feel like they regret their vote or something, and that every Democrat was going to get voted 100%. I don't know. I feel like that's how they felt, especially because they kept talking about this whole blue wave that was going to happen. And it's like I say, it felt like they just thought that everyone was just, everybody hates Trump, right? I mean, that's how they see it, right? And so, even if you don't, you have to regret what's been going on the past 2 years. I mean, you must want, balance in the government, which you actually, you kind of have now, because now the Democrats are in control of the House now. So I'll say, if anything, you have gridlock more than balance, really. But that being said, that's where we're at now. So now another thing that actually what we were talking about in our last episode is actually going on now here the past couple of days, is the whole migrant caravan that was coming through the through Mexico and everything, and now they're here right at the border. At least some of them are here, and now you had yesterday, where you had some of the people were on the other side of the border were throwing rocks and other things, and then they had I guess border patrol. I don't know if the military, or I forget which one, but they shot tear gas to get people to move away from the border and whatnot. And obviously the media, they found the few women and children that were there to make sure they focus on them, because that's the narrative they want to set. They want to set on the crying child. That's the one they want to make sure they get that one. I mean, let's totally forget about the 90% of men that are in this caravan. No, let's just focus on the women and children, because the women and children, that's going to make the people, feel real bad and feel sad about all these, illegal immigrants who have totally disregarded what they've been told about not coming up here. Do not come up here. Come here the right way. You've been told that, and on top of that, you totally disregard that warning, and on top of not accepting help from, whether it's from Mexico or other countries. No, you just totally, you shunned that away. You didn't want the help from those other countries, because you want to come to the United States. And look, I understand. That's I don't fault anyone because they want to come here, but there is a right way to come here. And what they are doing is not the right way. And they are willfully just ignoring our laws and just seeking to just basically cut the line by claiming asylum, which, I've said before, if they have, real, true claims of asylum, okay. That being said, I think the president brought up about, if even for the people who are claiming asylum, that they should, he said that they should wait, in Mexico, since they're already in Mexico now, just wait there and get their case, get it, I guess, looked at and whatever. And yeah, I feel like that's how it should have been done, because the way we're doing it now, as far as, so if someone comes in to the country, then they claim asylum, then they put them into I guess you call like a detention center for a couple of weeks or whatever. Then if they can't get their case heard, then they are basically told to come back for their hearing, but they're released into the country. And if I knew that is how it goes, why would I bother coming back? Especially if I came here illegally, and especially if I came here just seeking asylum, just saying asylum, just so I can get into the country. I mean, just asking that particular question should just automatically make you think twice as far as how to, and just seeing the potential for corruption, which makes it so easy to take advantage of the system. That's such an easy question to think of. Like, okay, if we're going to do it this way, I just feel like someone could just think for 1 second, like, well, if we do it that way, can't they just claim asylum and then don't come back? Well, we'll find them when, then, but still, I mean, once they get in, I mean, then they can, go to a community of people that's going to protect them, and you can go to a number of cities that are actually protect them, called sanctuary cities, that are, protect their illegal status and keep them here as long as they can. But yeah, so we got that going on now, and I guess I'm not going to get too much into that, because we have Anna Paulina will be with us on Thursday, and she'll talk more about the caravan and other issues that are involving what's going on down at the southern border. So, if I haven't mentioned, I don't think I have actually, but we're broadcasting from Louisville, Kentucky today. And I had another thing that I wanted to mention, which is kind of, I guess, is related to the midterms as well, but it also it don't just count for the midterms. It's just in general, because it kind of something that comes up all the time. And I guess I'll talk about that. But before we get to that, let's hear a word from our friends from the Founding Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
Commentary as subtle as a sledgehammer. This is Trend Chat.
All right. Yes. Back to the music. That's right. All right, turn it back up a little bit. Oh, okay. All right. So I guess one thing I did want to mention, and it's something that for the past couple of weeks, that since we haven't been on, this happened. I saw this article. This was around right after the midterms, and I remember I commented on the article, and I think I posted it on Facebook, and I was thinking about actually doing an episode about it then, and then I was like, whatever. I'm not even gonna, spend that much time talking about this. But I tell you, honestly, it is eating at me. It has gotten on my nerves to the point where I'm going to talk about it. and I think it's something I haven't really talked about on here. So I guess this would be the time to actually put it out in the public and put it on put it on the podcast for it to be here for all time. I don't know how this works. I mean, who knows, stuff get deleted after a couple of years. I don't know. But anyway, so right after the midterms, there was a Boston Globe article that was titled, well, it was titled a number of different ways, but I think now it's titled Memo to Black Men Stop Voting Republican. So basically it was just trying to shame black men who had the audacity, just the gall to vote Republican. Just trying to shame all black men like myself who voted for Republicans, whether in Georgia, in Texas, or voting for Ted Cruz and whatnot. And so they were looking at the numbers, and because, well, black women voted over 90% Democrat. So for them, they were like, oh, great. Great. The black women did what they supposed to do. And so then they see the number of black men, was like, what, 80%? It's like under 80% voted Democrat. So that basically meant like in the teens, like maybe 10, 17% or something like that voted Republican. So it wasn't even, it ain't like it was half and half, but just for the fact that it was 10% of black men voted for Republicans, it just, for this, what's her name, Renee Graham, who wrote this Boston Globe article, and it wasn't just her, there was other articles and other people who were talking about it as well, and they just can't fathom, how dare these 10% of black men, how could they vote Republican? I mean, I could see them crying and just about it or whatever, and just from that small fraction, just caused her to write this article. And I mean, how desperate can you be, really, to want to write something like this over a fraction of people, a small fraction that are voting, who dare to vote opposite of what you want? in a way. And like I said, the article, I guess if you want to look it up, it's called, Memo to Black Men, Stop Voting Republican, and it's in the Boston Globe. And like I said, they had those tired arguments, and obviously in there, like, well, how can you vote for a party that doesn't care for you, quote unquote, or a party that is against your self-interest, quote unquote, or whatever, like so. And so this is the thing that has been really eating at me. So I will say this about that. First, let's go with the doesn't care about you part. Let's start there. First of all, I don't really care about how much they, quote unquote, care about me. Like, I could care less about how warm and fuzzy they are. For me, when it comes down to who I'm going to vote for, it's like this. One, can you do the job? Do we have similar principles? Will you stand up and fight for those principles against Democrats and Republicans as well? And so, can you do all that? All right, I'll vote for you. That is it. I don't care about you being all, warm and cuddly and being nice and showing that you care or whatever like that. I mean, yeah, I know I'm in the minority, a minority of a minority in this, because the majority want someone who's like relatable and all nice and sunshines and rainbows, I guess, and just make them feel so warm inside. But I don't care. Honestly, I couldn't care less about that. Just do the job. That's all I want. Just do the job. So now that's the first part. So now the second part is when people want to bring up. Now I hear this all the time. Like, this is like as soon as someone find out anything about me, whether they know that I'm a conservative or if I posted something about Republicans or whatever like that, you have these liberal black people that'll come out, and like one of the first things they always bring up, why are you voting against your self-interest? I mean, I think it's never fails. It's going to come out. And the first thing I would think about, like, well, for one, you don't know me, so you don't even know what my self-interests are. That's the first thing. You just assume my interest just because I'm black. That's the only reason. And now, let's just think about that word self-interest. When these people are saying self-interest, I'm guessing they're meaning, they don't really mean self-interest. They basically mean community interest. Because, like I said, you have no clue about who I am or what my values are. So obviously you're just basically looking at the community, black community, and what their supposed interests are. Now, in that case, you can have that. I can care less about that. I don't care about what the community interest is, especially if the interest is in line with what the Democrats are selling. Because if we're going to go there, then I myself have no interest in what the Democrats are selling. None at all. So I have no interest in raising taxes on people, just because they're successful, or, just because they got it, or because I've been fed this lie about wanting them to pay their fair share, even though they're already paying a good share of it already at the moment. But yeah, I'm not interested in none of that. I'm not interested in raising taxes on anyone. I wish we could reduce taxes on everyone. But apparently that is the interest of the black community. Apparently. I'm not interested in continuing the slaughter of babies through abortion. I'm not interested in that at all. But apparently that's what the black community is interested in. That is the community interest that supposedly that's supposed to be my interest because I supposed to be voting Democrat, so we can continue the blight of this country when it comes to abortion. And even the Second Amendment. Let's look at it that way. Apparently, I'm supposed to be against the Second Amendment because I guess racism, or whatever. And I'm not interested in wanting to infringe on the Second Amendment. It's funny to me when we especially talk about the Second Amendment, because on one hand, you have plenty of black people who are always wanting to just cry and moan about whether it's the police state or just whatever viral video out there right now of police brutality or of some, police interaction that is happening. And every time that one of those videos come out, they want to talk about police brutality and talk about how the police is killing black men. Let them tell it. Police is just out there killing black men just because, like, they wake up in the morning. That's on their mind. I just want to murder black people. That's how they see the police. Now, with all of that, then they want to turn around and empower that same government by giving them the power of just disarming the community, take away our self-defense. So you don't trust the government. You think that the government is corrupt. You think the police is out there, killing us in the community, and yet you want to entrust that same government for your security. And you want to give that government more power by disarming you. That is one thing that I really find very puzzling, and I never understood that aspect, especially when we talk about the Second Amendment. Anyway, what I'm saying is that there are a number of issues that I have absolutely no interest in what the Democrats are advocating for and the policies that they want to implement. So for me to vote Democrat would be going against my self-interest. It would be going against everything I stand for, everything that I believe in. But they don't see it that way, because when they said self-interest, they mean, no, look, you need to be down for the cause or whatever nonsense. I really don't care about all this slang. But I mean, whatever it is, I don't care. Honestly, when someone wants to have that discussion, I'm willing to have the discussion. But once you start wanting to just keep on bringing up the same old argument, and I tell you, if you're just going to assume what my interests are, then you know what? Unless you care to know what my actual interests are as far as when it comes to voting, then I ain't got time for it. So now, you know what? Actually, I got another scenario that's not race based. I guess I want to bring up that kind of focus in as far as about when it comes to self-interest in a way. But it involves another industry. It actually involves my industry that I am involved in. But before we get there, let's hear a word from Politichicks. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat.
Also contributor at politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course activism. I encourage you all to check it out at politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
All right. So I picked that song in particular actually because the name of that song, what is the name of this song? Was I guess I wanted to play it louder for y'all. No, that was me trying to figure out what the name of the song was. Actually, Blue Texas Trucker. So so I picked that song in particular because it kind of goes into what I wanted to mention about. So I was talking about self-interest, as far as basically, why just because I'm black, I'm supposed to vote Democrat, and that my self-interest is supposed to be about, for abortion, for raising taxes, for, infringing on the Second Amendment, and on and on and on. There's plenty of other issues we can go on. We can just, talk about illegal immigration, and, as far as talking about the caravan, that could be another issue. I guess my interest is for open borders and just, totally disregard of the law, or something like that. But that's not my interest. My interest is that we should have a rule of law, and especially when it comes to our border. And it's pretty simple that we should know who's coming into this country. We shouldn't just let anyone just waltz in, whether it's our border or our homes or anything. I brought this up before. It's like your house. You just wouldn't just let anyone just come in your house. You would like you like to know who's coming, and you would like them to use the front door, or at least a door. Okay, they can use maybe a side door, back door, whatever, but at least use a door and at least know that you're coming, and know who you are. And if they want, if you trust that person to come into your home, then you let them in. If you don't, you don't. It's basically the same idea as far as when it comes to the border. So, but apparently because I'm black, I'm supposed to totally disregard all that. But going away from that, just speaking about self-interest. Now, I'm a truck driver. Like it's mentioned in the beginning, from the highways of America. Like I said, we're in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I'm a truck driver. And so here's a scenario for you. For one, I know maybe a lot of you have seen, whether it's articles or, the stories on the news or whatever, about these driverless vehicles. Just talking about cars. That, in the future, in not so distant future, you will have driverless cars. And so if you take that concept and take it one step further, we could very easily have driverless vehicles for trucks, delivering on the road. That could very well happen. You already have concepts out there. I've seen videos from whether Mercedes-Benz and other trucking companies, not trucking companies, but just manufacturers out there, and they have they're testing this out to not fully driverless, but pretty close to where you still have a driver in there, but the truck computer is doing a lot of the driving more. And we're going that direction to where not only will we have driverless cars, you have driverless trucks on the road as well. So what they got to do with the whole, with my self-interest. Now, me as a truck driver, I drive trucks. So if we have this shift to where we're using driverless trucks on the road, that endangers my job directly. But here's what I say. Just because of technology that would, advance, I guess technological advances that are in our industry, that doesn't mean that I change my principles because of, see, I'm just thinking about this off the top of my head because, like, my principles are not conditional. Let's put it that way. So just because this particular aspect that may happen in the future endangers my job, I'm not going to change my principles about free markets or about capitalism, because I could very well be out of a job to a driverless truck. But there are many people out there who would say, yes, I'm all for the free market, I'm all for capitalism, until it affects them. So in this case, you could have someone say, we need to really slow down the progress of these driverless trucks, because it will put drivers out of work, and we can't have that. Well, I mean, if we stopped technological advances just because people will lose their jobs, we will never have any technological advances. Whether we're talking about the automobile itself or whether it's building automobiles, building trucks, or anything like that. We can't halt technology just because of what it would do to the workforce. I mean, we shouldn't, at least, but it happens all the time. And so, I wouldn't be surprised that we probably could have had this a long time ago. I can say a long time ago, but we probably would have been had more of this going on now if we probably didn't have people in, there's lobbyists and everything that are trying to slow down this. Basically, it's coming eventually. And so, me personally, look, I understand that, what that could potentially mean for me as far as a truck driver, but I would not agree to be part of something that would try to halt the advances to our economy, or just or how it will benefit everyone. It could be more efficient, and I'm pretty sure it would be more efficient because, for one, the trucks don't have to sleep. These trucks don't need to be on a 10-hour break. So I'm pretty sure these would be more efficient than people like myself driving trucks. And so, that would directly threaten my job. But you know what? Like I said, I believe in these free market principles. I'm a conservative. I believe all of this as far as capitalism, and I believe this because I believe that these principles are ultimately universally beneficial to the betterment of all people. That's what I believe, not just myself. I'm not in this. I'm not advocating for these principles because it's going to help me out. If it helps me out, that's actually secondary. My whole reason why I believe it and why I'm involved is because I believe these principles help people and could help people if we could actually get it done. And so I'll be a big hypocrite to be all of a sudden talking about, hey, I believe in the free market, and all of a sudden when my job will be on the line, we'll say, well, you know what? Well, we need to stop that though, because I want to keep my job. No, I will not be hypocritical about that. And so, look, all what I'm talking about as far as the trucks thing, I don't know. I tell new drivers all the time, especially right now, if you're a truck driver and if you listen to this right now, and if you just got started, I don't think you'll make it to retirement. You may. I think I would. I think I would at least make it to retirement. I mean, I've been driving for 13 years. So I think I would at least make it to retirement age before all of this happens, at least on a grand scale, at least. But someone that just started right now, maybe they won't. And I mean, you have, you may have at least the well-experienced drivers stay on, maybe to just to keep a couple, in the company. But the more we move towards that future, which, like I said, it's a not so distant future. I don't think. I think maybe 10 to 20 years we might be at least having a few on the road in 10 to 20 years. Who knows? Might even have more. Just depends on how much regulations and have been put on these companies and whatever. That's a whole nother deal. That's all politics right there. But yeah. But I 30, 40 years, yeah, I could see this happening. And by that time, hopefully I'll be retired. At that point, at I guess 30 years of doing this podcast. No, I don't. No, that's not happening. I can't see that happening unless someone wants to pay me to do this for another 30 years. Depending on how much you pay me, I might could. But anyway, but yeah, that definitely is something that could be coming down the line. And so I guess I just wanted to mention that because when it comes to this whole word about self-interest, it's not something that doesn't appeal to me at all, because for one, if you're talking about my self-interest, then you don't know. For one, you need to know who I am, and then you also need to understand why I'm actually involved. And I think if people actually give some thought as far as and not just automatically thinking that, well, this person is they just doing it because they won't get gratification from if you're a black conservative, black people, liberal blacks people will say like, well, you're just trying to get validation from white folks or whatever like that. For one thing, let me just say this then. I'm not a conservative to please you, whoever are listening right now. I'm just saying it. I'm not a conservative just to please you. I'm a conservative because that's what I believe in. And I'm not conservative just to troll people. I'm conservative because this is what I believe in. So, but anyway, all that being said, like I said, I'm glad everybody's been listening. And again, we will have Anna Paulina with us on Thursday to talk about the caravan and everything that's been going on the southern border. So I appreciate it. And wow, I guess I really had a lot to get off my chest. Went to 45 minutes and we're right here at the end. So, and yeah, so I appreciate everyone listening for the third time. And if you like this, hey, share it. Let other people know about it. We're always looking to grow. We're always looking to get more people on. So, hey, just keep listening and get others to listen with you. So until Thursday, we'll chat with you later.